I just took out of my arrma Typhon, and I'm going to install the hot racing spool with the spur gear in the center diff. So first thing we're going to do, well, first thing you had to do was take your diff out of your car. Second thing we're going to do is remove the spur gear so we can get to take off these drive cups. They will need to be installed in the new one into the spool. So you have 2mm screws here, so you need a 2mm Allen key. You have 4 screws. You won't be using this spur gear. This is a 50 tooth, pretty big. Once again, if you're going to be bashing around in a parking lot or a park, you probably want to leave the diff in here. It will just help you keep the car straight. These spools that we're putting in here is going to take out the center differential, which would transfer weight back and power back in front. So for a speed run or drag racing, guys are putting in the spools. We were building them for people, and it was coming out to be a lot of money. Now you have hot racing. They make this spool for $23, and you just put your spur gear on it. All right, we're back to the diff here. So we've taken off the 4 screws. It's going to be a little messy in here with all the grease. So what you want to do is take off this center gear. Happens to be a little stuck here. Now, if you want to keep your diff intact, you can keep these gears, this diff all together, and just buy a couple key components. Never seen a gear so hard to come off. Here we go. All right, so you have a pin. Take out the pin. You'll be using this pin later, I believe, unless they supply pins in the spool. It's the first time we're doing this, so take that off. And basically, what we're going to be using is this differential shaft. I believe we'll be using these bearings again. For now, well, we don't need this spur gear. Push that to the side. All right, now we have to take out the other side. The other side's going to be a little bit different. We have an Allen key in the side here. Haven't done this in a while. Take out that little set screw. You probably won't be needing that. Once again, I believe you could build the spool and leave your differential together, that if you ever want to put it back in, you can just drop it back in. Just taking this gears out. Now you have that gear inside here that has to come out. Once again, it's just laying on top of that pin. You sort of got to wiggle it out. There we go. If you notice underneath, it's got a slot, and that's what fits over the pin. So we take that out, put that to the side. All right, so our pin's in there, and that's why we're gonna... Okay, so this pin's not too long, so you really didn't have to take out the set screw on the side. Some of the other vehicles, the pin is so long that you need to take out the set screw and you can push the pin out the side. So you don't have to on this one. All right. So we will pull out the center shaft. Take off the mount. Once again, we're probably going to need this bearing, but we could stay right into the... This is the upgraded Hot Racing center mount. It's going to be a little dirty and greasy, so make sure you have your paper towels. You can wipe off all that excess grease. Once again, this is the first time that we're doing this. Doing it on my own car, so we know how to do it for customers. All right, so let's open up the spool. Open up the spur gear. Once again, it's the 3-hole mount that's going to mount onto this spur gear. So I'm going to move everything else out of here that we're not going to be using. A little dirty, a little greasy. We will be using those pins, I believe. Unless Hot Racing give us new pins. Which they don't. Okay, so... Here's our O-rings. I think we're only going to need one O-ring, but they must give you spares. Okay, so on one side, we're going to put this shaft through here. And if you notice the hole, there's a hole. Let's see if I get this closer. Into the silver part right there. That's going to line up with the hole of this drive cup. And that's where those pins that we took out of the original diff is going to come into play. Just taking off some of that grease. Okay, now I guess the tricky part is to line up these holes. So that will lock this in here so the spool can turn your drive shafts. Now, we have to get this O-ring. I probably should have put the O-ring on first. Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do. Remember guys, it's the first time I'm doing this. So, I'm learning along with everybody else. So I'll push the pin back out. Let's put the O-ring over this first. Push this back here. Pick up the pin. All right. Now, we can stretch this O-ring over. And bam, it covers the pin, stops the pin from coming out. And now we're connected on one side. All right. The only problem is we should have put the bearing on first. So let's take the pin out again. That's why they must give you 3 O-rings, just in case you mess one up. I'm actually going to come out of the screen here a minute and try to get off this. Try to get off this O-ring. That's one tough O-ring. All right, so just trying to get something to pry it out with. All right, we're back. Push out the pin again. This bearing will go on here. Now, what side is the gear gonna go on? Not gonna be close to that way. It's gonna have to be this way here. Let's get the motor mount. Take a quick peek at that. So, let's see what this is going to be like. So here's our motor mount. So when that goes in, the gear will be on this side. All right, so that's going to go on to this side here. So the side we were working on is going to be the diff mount side. So this should go into here. This can go into here. All right, goes into this side. All right, so let's put that O-ring back on. We're actually going to change the O-ring just in case. The O-ring is going to come on here. Try to lift it up on top. Now we want to get it over, but not all the way over, because otherwise we're going to block up the hole and can't get the pin in. So you want to sort of get it up onto this edge. A little greasy. There's no editing here. Not gonna have it where I could stop, so it's gonna be a long video, but hey, I'm sure everybody else would have had to go through this too. All right, so let's put this back in here. This is gonna go back into here, to your diff. Once again, this goes in. Hopefully be the last time we gotta take it out. Push that all the way in. Make sure that's seated well. Now you're just going to have to finesse the O-ring over there. That drops in. That's going to stop the pin from coming out. Okay. Now, let's open up the spur gear. Got our screws and washers. All right, so this is normally going to go on here, but and that, instead of using an O-ring on this side to cover the pin going through, it's going to be the spur gear ring in here. It's going to cover that once it locks in here. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. So we bring the mount back into play here. This is going to go this way. So what we're going to have to do, let's get the spur gear just laying up here, because we can't get that pin in until it comes through here, through the mount. To come through the mount, then the shaft is going to come through here, but we need room. See if I can bring this down a little further. So you're going to need a little room to get that pin lined up. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Some people out there might have done this a couple times and have some faster ways, but right now, this is the best way I see to do it. All right, that didn't work. Line up that hole perfect. Okay. Now, put the spur gear on. Oh, well, that's a lot easier. All right, so the bearing can come out. And now we're just left to screw this on. Gonna use some red Loctite. Use some red Loctite. We have been noticing here in the store that the blue Loctite has not been holding up as of lately. So we use pretty much the red Loctite on everything now. Should be a 2mm. why they give you these spaces, but we're going to use them. Let's back up a little bit here. I wouldn't wrench it down tight yet. That'll be the third one. Now you can start snugging them down evenly. Don't over tighten one side. Whenever you're doing just about anything in this hobby, just keep turning them a little bit at a time. That's going to seat the gear down to the aluminum spool. And just go around and snug them all up. You don't want this falling off when you're doing 100 miles an hour. All right. And that should be it. So, they actually give you 3 other screws. You could use those little washers, probably with just these screws if you had to. And that's it. I'll have to adjust the pinion on my motor. To get it a little closer. And then you would just screw the assembly back into your car, and you're ready to go. I hope we helped some of you out. Some people had a lot of questions on just how to build it, and I really didn't have any answers for them because I never done it. So now we've done it, and we will install it, make another video of the car running. I know we got the arrma Typhon up to about 73 miles an hour by using the hot racing motor mount, so we could get a bigger pinion. But a 23 tooth with the stock 50 gear. So now we're going down to, which gear did we put on here today? We put on a 38. So we're not looking to do speed runs with this car. If we were, we'd probably go down to maybe a 34 and bring up the pinion gear pretty high. I don't know what they're running for speed runs. I don't think 34 on this type of buggy, but I'd say somewhere around a 34, 26, 27 maybe for a speed run. So we're going to stay with the 38, 23 to start, to do some drag racing. And we will see how that works out. And that's the beauty of this motor mount. Very easy. Take out the motor. Very easy to get to the pinion gear. And you could change to whatever gear ratio you want, as long as you don't overheat the speed control. So we're trying this all on the stock arrma electronic system, which we believe is the same as a Max 8 Hobby Wing. And it's been working out really good for us. Going to try to drag race with that with the local guys. If that's not good enough, we'll switch up the electronics. But right now, we just want to show you how to build the spool. We did that. We think everything is correct. So, until the next video, thanks guys.